farmland. Flat farmland. And then 1 year later, this is what was there, okay? This was just flat farmland, and a crack opened up, and lava started pouring out, and within a year, Percutine had grown to over 1,100 feet tall, and that's how fast it happens. And so it overwhelmed everything. It overwhelmed the churches and all the other buildings. Everybody had to move out of the way. This was painted by Gerardo Murillo Coronado, who signed his paintings Dr. Athol, and this was painted in 1943. He just happened to be there and was able to document the impressive growth of this volcano. Even Andy Warhol got in on it. This is a painting, a silkscreen on cardboard, of all things. But there you have it. Also of Mount Vesuvius. Here's another one that he did of Mount Vesuvius. Mount St. Helens is painted in 1980. So we're moving on to modern art. This is Roger Brown. This is a painting called The First Continental Eruption, also painted in 1980. And this is my personal favorite. This is actually a photograph that I took when I was on an island in Lake Nicaragua. So Lake Nicaragua is the largest lake in Central America, and in the middle of the lake there's an island that's made up of two different volcanoes, Concepcion and Madeiras. And this is Concepcion, and you can see this is the main street, and there's a church at the top of it, and then the volcano is overlooking the entire town. It's actually a sort of a terrifying sight. You could imagine it erupting when you're there. In fact, it actually did erupt when we were there, but that's a whole separate story. But what I like most about this is notice that everybody is, rather than being terrified, is turned towards the volcano while this is going on and seems to be almost waving and celebrating. Everybody except for her. She's got the bags packed, and she is gone, okay? I don't know where she thinks she's going. There's a ferry off the island, and it probably is a spill. Also, the other thing I like about this is the model, like a plaster model of the and even the model is erupted. So I think that's pretty terrific. Anyway, so it's not just art. I mean, it's been given treatments in literature, in children's books as well. This is from Le Petit Prince, 1943. Here, the Little Prince cleans volcanoes to keep them burning slowly and evenly. Seems like an important job for somebody if you're looking for something to do. Here are two more. Here, a new volcano erupts in Central Park in the novel The Genesis Rock in 1980 by Edwin Corley. And the date of 1980 should stick out because that was the year that Mount St. Helens erupted, and I'm fairly certain that the United States had, had volcanoes on the brain during that year, and that probably led to this. Over here, you see the Krakatoans escaped the island in a hot air balloon in 21 balloons in 1947 by William Kenneth Du Bois. Okay, it's a children's book as well. But movies have gotten in on it as well. This is probably the most famous, or maybe the only real classic movie about volcanoes. This is called Stromboli with Ingrid Bergman. I don't know if you can see this up here. It says Isla Volcanica Passiones Volcanica. So I don't know if you speak Italian, but you can probably see what that's all about. So this was a very controversial movie at the time, not just because of the subject matter, but because Ingrid Bergman had an affair with Roberto Rossellini, and it caused a whole big, big scandal. And it was so big, actually. It wasn't just, some Hollywood thing. This scandal actually got so big that on March 14, 1950, Senator Edwin Johnson of Colorado addressed President Truman from the floor of the Senate to complain that the stupid film about a pregnant woman in a volcano has exploited America. So, to all of you, if you feel exploited tonight, I do apologize. I had nothing to do with it. And then, of course, we can't forget, honorable mentions go to Joe versus the Volcano, Dante's Peak, my personal favorite. Now, I'm not saying that this is based on my life, but, I mean, come on. Volcano, where a volcano erupts in Los Angeles, because why not? And don't pretend you haven't seen it. Volcanoes on these. I don't know if you can read that. It says the dead don't burn. I confess that I never actually saw it, but I feel like I have to read this one. Anyways, but it's not just that. I mean, poets as well have used volcanoes as inspiration. Here, this is from the poem Peace by D.H. Lawrence, who wrote in 1923. Peace is written on the doorstep in lava. Peace, black peace, congealed, my heart will know no peace till the hill bursts. Brilliant, intolerable lava, brilliant as a powerful burning glass, walking like a royal snake down the mountain toward the sea. Peace congealed in black lava on the doorstep, Within, white-hot lava, never at peace, till it bursts forth, blinding, withering the earth, to set again into rock, gray black rock, call it peace. Emily Dickinson, in a poem that was published, like most of her work, after her death, volcanoes be in Sicily and South America. I judge from my geography, volcanoes nearer here, a lava step at any time, am I inclined to climb, a crater I may contemplate, Vesuvius at home. Again, Emily Dickinson. The reticent volcano keeps his never slumbering plan, confided are his projects pink to no precarious man. And I want to thank Erica Funke, who interviewed me for the gathering on her show, for introducing me to this, which I actually did not know existed. But it's a piece called Mount St. Helens, done for the Seattle Symphony by Alan Hovans. And if we are lucky, we will be able to hear some of it. That will also play whenever I walk into a room from now on. That's my walk-on music. But that was 1993, obviously inspired by Mount St. Helens. So let's just take a step back. I mean, these are just some of the different ways that artists have treated volcanoes and been inspired by them. But let's take a step back and really bring this back to geology. Okay. So for this, I'm going to need a little help from you guys. What sorts of things come out of volcanoes? And you can just yell it out. Just be loud. It's okay. Lava. Good. Gases. Ash. Air. Okay. Fire. Steam. Okay. Good. There's something that was funny that I missed. Hot. Avalanches. Yes. Hot. Yes. It's very, very hot. That's very good. Yeah. All of those things do come out of volcanoes. What? Sandals. Sandals. Right. I forgot about that. Why? We could be here all day. This is great. Sandals. I forgot that. Anyways, yeah, I heard sandals. I was like, what are you talking about? I remember that. Okay, so you're right. All of those things do come out of it. So we have lava. And obviously, lava is the first one that everyone thinks about, okay? And notice, here's lava crossing the street. Lava always obeys stop signs. So here's more lava. This is Mount Etna, a couple images from Mount Etna. Another one from Mount Etna. This is actually spectacular. What you're looking at is actually a bubble. It's a bubble about to rise out of it, and that's just moments prior to it popping. So I think that's really, it looks like some sort of monster rising in the swamp. Gases, I heard people mention, there's sulfur dioxide, CO2. Water vapor, by the way, is the #1 most abundant volcanic gas. Most people don't realize that. And anybody know why this person is poking at the sulfur? He does. Actually, he's mining it. He's mining it. It's horrendous work, but in places like the Philippines and Indonesia, sulfur has value, and this is pure sulfur. So they go up there and they just break off pieces and bring it down and sell it by the ton. It's absolutely horrendous work. Ash, also I heard people mention, this is Cleveland Volcano in the Aleutian Islands, part of Alaska. This is Mount Redoubt, also in Alaska. Spectacular image showing multiple umbrella clouds, which is a phenomenon we don't have time to go into right now, but really, really interesting. This is Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines, 1991. Now, I have two questions. One, do you think this person's looking in their rearview mirror at this moment? And two, why is the person taking the photograph instead of running? I fail to see exactly why that is. But anyway, very, very devastating eruption, 1991, Mount Pinatubo. But let me ask you another question. Why does all this stuff come out of volcanoes? And what I really mean is, why doesn't all this stuff that we listed, sandals included, why doesn't it just stay just under the ground, just hanging out there? Why does it have to come out? And why does it have to come out like this? What makes it come out? Why doesn't it just sit there? I'm sorry? Pressure. Oh yeah, it's under pressure. It's under immense pressure, and in the case of explosive eruptions, it's under sudden pressure. So it's not really under all that much pressure, and things happen to make that pressure multiply very quickly. But you're right, pressure is what it is all about. And it's really quite mind-boggling how much pressure we're talking. So pressure really is the answer. Thank you for that. And with enough pressure, volcanism is no longer a local problem like we think about it. Okay? It's a global one. So we think about the effect of volcanic eruptions as affecting the people right by the volcano itself. We understand that. There's lava, there's gases, there's landslides people mentioned. Those are all dangerous. Okay? But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what happens when volcanic ash actually spreads all the way over the entire planet. The entire planet. So what you're looking at is Mount Redoubt. This is actually an outline of Alaska. And you're looking at a volcanic plume punching through the top layers of clouds. Okay, that's how high these things can go. And once they're up there, global wind currents can take them and spread them all over the globe. I mean, every single square inch of the entire planet will be covered to some minor level with this volcanic ash, okay? And it will be up in the atmosphere, which is actually more important. So, I got ahead of myself, okay? So, maybe that backbite. You guys are quick, I just did it for a second. Anyway, the point is that now we're talking about things that are not local. We're talking about things that are global. The subtle ways that volcanoes affect you and affect people around you and affect culture in ways that you do not even understand and may not even notice, okay? So, what is this painting that we're looking at? This is painted by, who was from what country? Norway. Anybody can give me approximately when this was painted? Early 1890s. There are actually a series of them painted over the early 1890s and into the next decade. But yes, that's exactly when. And the fact that it was Norway is important for a reason that we're going to get to in just a second. Okay. Now, obviously, this is epitomized by this figure right here, and also the quality of the sky. There's two most striking images in this. Now, let me ask you a question that seems perhaps unrelated. When you think of great sunsets, where do you think of it? I mean like the most stereotypical, like close your eyes and picture like a beautiful sunset. Like where are you? What are you looking at? The ocean, right? Exactly. It's like as if sunsets only happen at the ocean, right? But we're all thinking it. I understand, okay? You're thinking about this. So we think beautiful sunsets happen here. You go there because you want to go see good sunsets. Well, let me tell you something. I've been to a lot of places, and I've been to a lot of beaches. And I can tell you without question that the most impressive, amazing, mind-boggling, spellbinding sunset I have ever seen in my life was in New Jersey. Okay? And I mean it's not even close. I have sat on beaches all over the place. I have seen good sunsets. I'm telling you, this one in New Jersey was so unbelievable, I to this day cannot even imagine it. So you might not think of New Jersey when you think of incredible sunsets. But you should, and there's one very specific reason why. Okay, why does New Jersey get such vivid sunsets? Pollution. There you go. So what does pollution have to do with it? Well, pollution, in this case we're talking about what's known as particulate matter, I mean physical stuff, dust, in the atmosphere that scatters the sun's rays and produces these colors. Now, by the way, the reason that a sunset is red to begin with is because of this scattering. So all you're saying is that when you have the stuff in the atmosphere, you make that effect greater. So you can be in a place like New Jersey that you don't think of as having extremely great sunsets, but in fact, they do on a regular basis, and this is actually why. It is the pollution, okay? So what does that have to do with this? Well, it turns out that a few years prior to the painting of that painting, a long-dormant volcanic island in Indonesia did that. What island are we talking? Krakatau. Okay, one of the largest volcanic eruptions of all time. That year, 1883, William Ashcroft painted this painting, not in Indonesia and not on a beach. He painted this of the Thames in London. Who here has ever been to London? Okay. Do you think beautiful sunsets when you think of something? Probably not. That's not number one on your list, okay? It's the good food, I know. But okay, so this is not what you would typically expect. But this is what they saw in 1883. And William Ashcroft went on to paint a whole series of paintings like this, okay? One after another, in England, showing the same sunsets. And not just sunsets, but violent weather, lightning storms like he had never, ever, ever seen, okay? This is a painting by Joseph Turner, 1830. Now, this is not following Krakatoa. This is following a different volcanic eruption. But once again, in England, you find colors that you would not expect to find in England. And that brings us full circle to this. Now, Norway, okay, is not known necessarily for its vivid sunsets. But I can tell you that in the years following the 1883 eruption of Krakatoa, that the people in Norway would have seen increased vivid sunsets, increased red colors. And by the way, Edvard Munch himself said that the inspiration for this, he wrote in his diary, was a blood-colored sunset, where he said that it seemed as if the sky was screaming. That's where this comes from. He wrote that. And he wrote that in the years following the eruption of Krakatoa. Now, I can't tell you that event on the other side of the planet inspired this painting. Okay? But I can tell you that he would have experienced sunsets that were greater and more vivid than he was used to in the years prior to that painting, and then he painted this. So I'm not saying that that is directly related, but there is a correlation between the two. There's a paper published in 2007. What they did was they actually analyzed hundreds and hundreds of paintings, and what they wanted to look at was the ratio of reds to greens. The idea was that after a major volcanic eruption, if worldwide painters were seeing slightly redder sunsets, then they would use slightly more red relative to the green. And if that were the case, then you could analyze that and you could see it. And what you see here, this is the level of orange to red to green in these paintings over the years. And you can see that that level, more or less, is unchanged. There are a few years that it looks like it gets bumped up a little bit. Not a lot, but it does look like there is an effect. Down here on the bottom, you see how much dust was put up in the atmosphere by different volcanic eruptions. And what you see if you look at the really big ones is that they did have an effect on this up here. So let's take a look at the big ones. Tambora, which we will get to, the biggest of all time, at least in recorded history. There it is right there, that bump. Krakatoa, there it is right there. Okay? Babayun in the Philippines, Costaguina in Nicaragua, 6 and 7, create that little bump right there. Even this one over here. These two of them happened in the same year. Okay? Here it is right there. So, we're not talking about massive effects, but we are talking about measurable effects, noticeable effects, okay? Even years later, you can go back into those paintings